it's your girl, Nycci Nellis. It's Industry Night. Welcome back. I'm so excited to have you here with me today. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who know me, then you know my drill. Just a little background, I've been covering the hospitality scene for like a really long time, like over 20 years. I know. I don't look a day over 25, but yet here I am covering the hospitality scene. The listareyouwantit.com, the online e-zine that tells you everything happening in the DMV. Of course, you follow me at NYCCINELLIS on all the platforms. I mean, honestly, I'm not really on Twitter or Facebook for personal reasons, but my team makes sure all the stuff goes on there, so you may want to check it out. The real place to follow me is Instagram, because I'm sharing all my eats and treats and all my travel, because I'm doing such amazing things. And of course, on YouTube, where you now find Industry Night. This show, you can either watch us or you can download us on your favorite podcast platforms. And lastly, Foodie and the Beast. We have been on air for 16 years, 1,500. We are doing such amazing things on that show, so you want to check that all out. Okay, let's get into today's show. So, I'm back. Fauquier Fabulous. No, I'm in Fauquier County again for one particular reason and one particular reason only. Laura Torpy. I am so grateful to her for creating this partnership with Industry Night. This is my third show out in this county, and I am so excited because I'm talking about beers today. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm not a beer fan. It's not my favorite thing to drink. But I do drink it because I'm always amazed by the complexity and the agriculture behind it and the process and what's happening. And what's happening out here in Fauquier County and at their breweries is nothing short of amazing, especially when we talk about creative brews as well as sustainability and really thinking outside the box. So look at where I am today. I am at Old Bust Head Brewing Company. This space is amazing. Wait till you see my behind the scenes of it because it's incredible. And I've got with me Julie Broadus. She is the owner and operator. But I also have with me today Kevin Powers. He is the owner of Powers Farm and Brewery with his wife, Melody. And I've got two different breweries who are doing two very different things, and I can't wait to get into that. But before I do, I got Laura here. She's just been sitting pretty, waiting with me, for those of you who are watching, to talk about what's going on in Fauquier, because it is just the beginning of spring. It feels delicious out there, put the top down weather. Okay, so before I get into all of this brewing deliciousness, let's talk with Laura Torpy, Fauquier County.
So one of the biggest things that's happening this spring here in Fauquier County is the 100th running of the Virginia Gold Cup.
So wait, it's the 100th year.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we are super excited.
Mm-hmm.
They're planning a big gala for it. It's big. It's going to be great.
So for people who don't know what the Gold Cup is, because not everybody listening does, can you give us a little 411?
Well, it's kind of like a mini...
Like steeplechase?
Yeah, it's steeplechase racing.
Mm-hmm.
But you get to wear big hats and dress up, and it's kind of, you get to live an alternate life for a day because it's super fun.
So wait, where is that at?
It's at Great Meadows.
Great Meadows. So I have judged the, what's it called, when they put the food outside the cars?
Tailgating.
Tailgating, yes. So I have judged that before.
Oh, really?
Yes. And people go all out.
Yes.
So it's the 100th year. That's a huge celebration. Tell us a little bit about sort of the ancillary things that are also happening. It's spring. I assume there's a lot going on here in the county.
Right. So our farmers markets are kicking off here in April. So we're super excited to have local vegetables and fruits for everybody to buy here, local artisans.
How many farmers markets are there?
We have 4.
Okay.
So yeah, and in all different areas of the county.
That's so nice.
And on Saturdays and some on Sundays. So it's nice. It kind of moves around.
Well, I think it's so good that the community can be serviced. You're doing good on both ends. The farmers are able to sell their product, and you are able to access fresh and healthy food.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's so important. And obviously, the spring load is the best.
Yeah.
So cool. All right, what else did you tell me you had going on? Let's see. We got farmers markets. We got the running of the Virginia Gold Cup, 100 years. Oh, There's like a spring market event happening here.
Yes, in May, there's a spring market here with local artisans.
Oh, cool.
So people can come and drink beer and walk around and buy all your things for spring, for Mother's Day and things like that.
Great idea.
Yes.
Okay. And so with spring, to me, what makes, like, I think about getting out of town, right? Like putting the top down, like coming out here and checking out wineries and breweries. What would you advise people to do? Like if you were to pick like a great day, like I know you can't pick your favorite. They're like,
You're really putting me.
I know, like they're your children. I won't tell anybody. But like, give me like, okay, you could do this, this, and this, or this, this, and this.
Well, we are easily accessible off of 66. So
Yes.
just come out 66 and we have great small towns. You can pick up something to eat, to take either on a picnic to one of our wineries or breweries. You could take a hike and just
Okay, I'm going to interrupt her. Lost Mountain, it's my favorite.
Yeah,
I do it all the
she loves
time.
that one.
I do love that one.
yeah. But it's a great hike. You get to hike up and you can look over the town of Paris. It's a village of Paris, I should
Yes.
say. It's more of a hamlet.
Yes.
And then there's things like that you can do.
Okay. Oh, and also a pro tip. Definitely stop by Avoca Farms. They've been on this show before, like a while ago, a long time ago. But they have amazing steaks, amazing burgers. Those burgers sell out pretty fast. But their farm is really fabulous, and you can pet cows if you call ahead. It's really important.
They raise Wagyu beef, so now
F1.
F1 Wagyu
Half
beef.
Wagyu, half Angus.
Yes.
I got the lesson.
And right now they have a lot of baby cows too, so they have some spring farm tours planned next month too. So that's great.
Great. Okay. So aside from the list, areyouwantit.com, plug, please tell me and everybody else how they can keep in on all the events and happenings in Fauquier County.
So go to visitfauquier.com and go to our events page, and all the great things all over the county are on there.
Excellent. Thank you, Laura. Okay, so now we're going to talk beer. And for those of you who are watching, I'm in this gorgeous outdoor patio with this amazing mural. I can't wait to get into it and discuss all the things. So I am with Julie Broaddus. She is owner and operator of Old Bust Head Brewing Company here. So they're not only producing delicious beers, but they have a really strong commitment to sustainability. They are a huge part of this community, and they have an amazing story. So I'm so excited to talk with you, Julie, because you've really built something interesting here, and you're like part of the beginning of brewing here in this county. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for hosting us. And before you start, we have all these beers here. What are we tasting first?
Okay,
Just
so we
pick
have,
one.
we're going to start with the lightest one, which is
Okay.
a Mexican lager.
Okay.
And this is actually our newest release in distribution. And the thing that I want you to know about this beer is that it's made with sweet heirloom Virginia corn.
Oh, okay. Well,
so we've
cheers.
got Virginia, supporting our Virginia farmers.
Oh my God, that is really refreshing.
It's 5%. It's a very light, refreshing beer.
This is like summer sipping.
Summer sipping.
Summer sipping beer. Okay,
Yeah.
wait. Which one's mine? Which one's yours?
You're in the front.
Okay, great.
Okay. This
All
is-
right. Nope.
Enough? Okay.
We'll go to these second.
Okay,
So,
okay.
tell us a little bit about how you and your husband Ike got into the brewing business.
Okay, well, so actually, usually what I get when people find out that I'm in the brewing business is they just immediately turn and look at Ike.
Oh.
Because, number one,
Well,
they
the
seem incredulous.
The misogyny is incredible.
I'm a woman. When we started this, I was 50, and that was 10 years ago.
Okay, well, you look amazing.
Well, I was going to say, you started your business when you were 13, probably.
Yes.
And I wasn't known for being a craft beer drinker. The first craft beer I had was actually when we were investigating the opportunity of opening the brewery.
Okay.
And so everyone looked at my husband and assumed, well, he's the craft beer drinker, and that's why they're doing this. But he had as little experience in craft beer as I did.
Okay.
And so it really came down to somewhere along the way, I developed this intense feeling that unique places matter, that authentic and unique places matter. And that's why I got into this.
Interesting. So you have two things happening for you, right? You wanted something that was community driven, that brought your neighbors and people here in the community to you, or an offering for them. Like, I think we see this now popping up all over the place, sort of these, it's not an amenity because it does make money, but when you think of, to me, when I think of a brewery or a winery, I think of, oh, this is a place that people can come to, can sit, commune, drink something good and delicious, but also really appreciate the local area, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. So, okay, but I don't want to yada, yada, yada over the brewing.
Right.
So you know you like it, but how do you start making it?
Right. Well, so as a child, my father was a determined adventurer.
Okay.
And so he grew up in California and used to fly Piper Cubs over the tomato crops, his family's tomato crops.
Okay.
So we always had small planes. And he took us on to very remote places all over the country, always in a small plane.
Okay.
And with many refueling stops along the way.
My stomach is like dropping as you're talking. Go ahead.
And so not only did I get this love of the environment, which is part of why we do this sustainability mission here, but also I got to see some incredible local places where the community just gave you this amazing feel. The places were authentic, and you leave with this memory of that place. But I also, stopping in all those small towns all over the country, saw places that were completely homogenized.
Okay.
So there's a Denny's, a Holiday Inn, a McDonald's, and you are halfway across the country, but could be anywhere.
Okay, but what does that have to do with beers that were served here?
When my serial entrepreneur husband came with one of the head brewers from Abita with the idea, hey, I want to open a brewery here in Vint Hill, I was very uncharacteristically all in.
Okay.
Because it was an opportunity to preserve a historic space, make something authentic, make one of those places that I saw as a kid that enriched the experience of the place, that made life better.
Which I totally appreciate. So you brought in somebody to teach you how to brew?
Well, no, he was our partner.
Oh, okay.
And we had divided and conquered. So he managed the whole brewing side. My husband did distribution side, and I did all the tap room and events.
Amazing.
And then over time, we ended up cycling through several brewers.
As one does.
Which is what you do. And then my husband, serial entrepreneur, was on to the next thing. And so here I am, still following my passion of creating a place that is unique and meaningful to my community. And after that first sip of craft beer,
let's go to our
I am
second
now
one.
a total fan.
Okay, so let's go to our second one. What are we trying?
So sours are probably my favorite.
Okay, and I know they're really popular.
Yeah, this is an imperial sour, so it's 9.8%. It's called Raspberry Rosé.
Okay.
It has a lot of raspberry puree, but it started its life in a port barrel, port wine barrel, so you might like it, that was used to age bourbon.
Interesting.
So it was aged for 8 months.
Wow. Okay,
And so,
cheers.
So here's what I love about beer.
Okay, tell me.
Okay, you can have the complexity of wine in beer, because we have the malt and the yeast and all kinds of things.
And the fruit.
And the hops that bring these incredible flavors. But you can have the creativity of a cocktail. So
very true.
So that's what I love about craft beer. And so I am now a complete craft beer fan.
I hear that. I think I missed something that I should have asked early on. When you say craft beer, what is that definition for you? What does that mean?
So craft beer means that we are not adding anything that is not for flavor.
Okay.
We might, many of our brews are mostly barley based. We might choose to make a beer that's Virginia corn based.
Right, which I love.
But we're never adding starches just to create alcohol.
Got you.
So everything is for flavor. And you will see I can still be surprised. I've done this for 10 years.
Right.
I can still be surprised by the next release. Like, oh my gosh.
Well, to the point, how many releases, we were in your tap room, there's how many taps are there?
We have 48 taps.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And we usually have over 24-ish of our own beers that we're brewing here on tap at any given time, different beers.
Okay, so what are we drinking next?
Okay, so the next one is our Graffiti House. This is one of the first beers we ever made. It's an IPA.
Okay, so this is the first one. So the other two, I just want to say, neither of them smelled like a traditional beer because they weren't. One was
Right.
corn-based.
Right.
One is sour. This IPA, this
yes.
smells just like an IPA.
If you put your hand over the top,
I have papers in my
okay,
hand, but yes.
and then take a whiff,
All right.
and you'll smell tropical fruit, mango, papaya, guava. And the amazing thing is, there is no fruit in this beer.
Amazing.
That all comes from the hops.
So can we talk about your hops? Where are your hops from? How, like, we haven't even delved into your
Right.
sustainability and all that. and I'd
Right.
like to go that route.
Right.
Where are your hops from? How do you source your product that's in your beer?
So for our large batches like this one, we source from America,
Okay.
the United States,
good.
Pacific Northwest. For our small batch, we're able, so we have a 30-barrel system and a 7-barrel system.
Okay.
A 30-barrel system, picture filling one fermenter is like 120 keg parties. That's
Okay.
a lot of beer.
That's
of
a
one
lot of
size.
beer, yes.
The 7-barrel system, that's like 14 keg parties. So you can do that and really keep the variety up. So we have our big system for our distribution. We distribute all over Virginia, into Maryland and DC.
Amazing.
But the small system is where we're making more local ingredients, specialty batches just for the tap room.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So are there people who grow hops here?
So we have done, not on a production scale,
Okay.
only backyard scale. Maybe Kevin.
Okay.
Kevin even gave up on that.
Okay, we'll talk to Kevin about that.
So we have done a beer here called Virginia Hop Harvest, where we found local hops and got local barley from Murphy and Root and made an all Virginia, all local beer. But that is difficult to do, really, especially for the volumes that we're doing.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing a lot.
We're getting United States hops.
Okay.
Largely.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
clearly the good news is in the glass because
Right,
it's delicious.
right.
Okay, why don't you tell me what's the last one we're having a sip of?
Okay.
And then we're going to get into your sustainability practices.
very
you
good.
seem very, ahead of the game in it.
Right. And actually, I should rephrase, we're not only using United States hops, because we might do a German-style beer, and we're going to use German style.
Okay,
right?
fair enough, right.
We do international beers as well as local.
Okay, this is like chocolate.
This is going to be like you went to Starbucks and got a caramel macchiato stout. So
Okay.
you might not know that you're drinking beer.
Okay, so here's my recommendation. This
Okay.
needs to be served with ice cream.
Yes.
I'm sure I'm not the first person to tell you that.
We do.
It's delicious. No,
Oh,
this feels
good.
like not candy, like it's sweet, but it feels like dessert.
Yes. So we have a partnership with Move Through Ice Cream. So we sell local Move Through ice cream here. And if you put a vanilla scoop of Move Through ice cream with that, it's to die for.
Oh my God, that sounds
Yeah,
delicious.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so let's talk about your sustainability practices.
Okay. Yeah. So, I told you I traveled all around as a young kid to remote places. And so I got a natural love of the environment. My husband also was always very conservation focused. And so when we started the brewery, we already knew that the environment was a core value for us. We were excited to be able to do some things and implement some business practices that might influence others to do the same thing. So first of all, we started with a building that was already here, right? Historic Van Hill building, a building nobody else would have, probably most people would have torn down, but we saw the bones and the authenticity of it, and we turned it into a cool place. But one of the first things we did also was we put in, under our parking lot out front, 500 18-foot deep geothermal wells. So we geothermally heated and cooled this whole
Okay,
building.
so that's for another show someday because I'm obsessed with geothermal, having been to Iceland multiple times,
okay.
and they are like,
Yes.
Okay, we'll go down the
I can
rabbit
tell you all about
we'll go down that
geothermal.
rabbit hole later because
Okay.
I am obsessed with how that works.
I'm so glad, and I have studied that to the nth degree so that I can explain it to people.
Okay, great.
Okay. So, but before we did our first brew, so our first brew was in February. It was Christmas Eve, and we found out that our 18-year-old, actually 17-year-old daughter had a rare liver cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And Finley was her name. Finley was an extremely unique person. She was a person you never would think had a serious thought about anything. She was extremely lighthearted, extremely jubilant, and yet she had this serious mission to do everything she could to to stop climate change and to take care of the planet. Every little thing she could do, and she would spread this in the most positive way that nobody could be annoyed at her for it.
Okay.
So when she went into the hospital to fight this cancer, that didn't change. She told people, don't send me flowers from South America because they're flown all the way from South America. Plant a tree instead. So people did that and sent her photos. She got all the nurses turning out lights down the hall, you know. And she sounds
like a force.
She was a force. And she started Finley's Green Leap Forward Fund, which is a fund that supports environmental organizations. And her impact on us, that fund has now donated over $580,000 to environmental organizations.
Wow.
So she made those first 2 grants herself, and she passed away on June 2nd, which was 5 months after she was diagnosed.
I'm so sorry.
So I can never be sad when I think about Finley. It just wouldn't do. And so many of the things that we do here, Finley gives us that extra push because we know we got to do it for her. So that includes, we have a 100 kilowatt solar array.
Right. So can you, we don't have time to like go through the nitty gritty of it, but like, I hate the word that I just keep saying, but like, it's so of the moment. It's so important. It's so actually, once you set it up, easy to do. It just makes so much sense.
It's been a huge positive investment. It's 100% just like geothermal. Makes total sense. Totally a good return on investment. Definitely the thing to do. 4th largest of all distributing microbreweries in the country.
Wow.
So we went all big. But then the last thing that I want to share about the environment that we've done that I think is really unique, we were one of the first breweries, and this was definitely a Finley thing, not a sure this is going to be a great return on the investment thing. We installed CO2 recapture.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So what does, for the other ones, people may be like solar, I see solar, or, you know, geothermal, okay. Yeah. But what does that really mean? And what does that mean for you here? So CO2 recapture, CO2 is one of the biggest ingredients you use in beer. You use it because oxygen and beer are enemies, so you always use CO2 to push your beer. You carbonate with CO2. CO2 is one of your main ingredients. And so we need a lot of it. We also produce a lot of it. So beer is made, alcohol, fermentation, is taking sugars and converting them into CO2 and alcohol. So we produce a ton of CO2. So we were at the same time buying a whole bunch of CO2 and releasing a whole bunch into the atmosphere. Right.
And we knew Finley would never approve of us releasing all that CO2.
Okay, instead of what would Jesus do, this is what would Finley do.
Okay, exactly.
I love this.
Finley take the wheel.
Yes.
So we were introduced to the opportunity for this first ever kind of like small size CO2 unit that we could buy to recapture CO2. And we just said, it's the bleeding edge, but we got to do it. And we've done it. It was a lot of figuring stuff out in the beginning, and now it just works smoothly. It is one of the best things we've done, and it just makes us really happy.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, so I feel like we can go down so many rabbit holes, but we don't have time today. What I'd love to do is for you to tell everybody where we are, what you have going on here, and how they can participate.
Okay, well, we are at Old Bust Head Brewing Company. We're about 40 miles west of Washington, D.C.
Oh, it took me 55 minutes door to door.
Yeah,
so it's a quick ride.
It's a quick ride. We are in a discreet location because Vint Hill was a top secret military listening post, which will be a story for another day also.
A story for another day.
So that's the space that we're in. And solar-powered microbrewery, we're all about our community and the broader community of Virginia.
So I'm going to hit the stuff for you that's important.
Okay.
You can do events here. They have a gorgeous event space. They have a beautiful lawn that we are not showcasing right now, but you can sit outside. We're in this area that has a lot of other little retailers and shops that makes it even more fun than it already is. But it's just a great place to come and spend the day with your family. So you can go to the list or youonit.com to see everything you heard here today. And of course, you can go to your website, which is
oldbusthead.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much,
Thank
Julie.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was so great talking to Julie. We learned so much, and I literally could go down a rabbit hole with her on so many things that they're doing here at this brewery. But now we're going to continue the craft brewery conversation out here in Fauquier County just a little differently, because I have with me here someone who's doing it really interestingly and different. This is Kevin Powers. He's with Powers Farm and Brewery. He's like, hi. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see him like wave, or if you're just listening, just listen, sit back and relax. Right. So this is a true gem in Virginia's craft beer scene, because you really blend agriculture with the innovation of what you're doing. So you and your wife, Melody, you're in the farming business, right? Like, how did we begin here?
Yeah, actually, in DC, believe it or not. So we moved to DC.
I totally believe it, just to be clear.
we at the time that we had the idea to do this brewery lived near American University. My wife was getting a master's and working there, and there's a community garden there. So we kind of had our first garden. That's kind of where I started brewing.
Victory Gardens. They're all over DC. They're amazing.
It was one of those. It was awesome. We had a lot of fun there. But that's really where we kind of like, as my wife, who really loves gardening, grew up in a very rural part of Pennsylvania. Her whole family loves, growing and more of like a gardening, homesteading kind of thing. They had a dairy on the property and things like that, but
cool.
no real background. And then we, as we were brewing and gardening, we thought, I really love this brewing thing. I really kind of think it's fun. We both loved beer. Anytime we traveled around the country, we were the people that were going, to all of the different breweries. So as we kind of thought about like what we wanted to do to get out of the city, we'd moved there for work like a lot of people, and we didn't necessarily want to live in what felt like a 75 square foot apartment forever. So we did love living there, of course. But Fauquier, we didn't have any roots here. But as we looked around like greater DC, this place, we found a property that kind of worked for us, and we really love it here. And
so you knew you wanted to get into. Did you have intention to farm on that property? Or was the beer, like what came first, farm or beer?
The farm. So the beer we certainly still love doing in homebrewed. So, our background is in like a homebrewing scaled up version as opposed to like more of a production brewery. But yeah, my wife and I moved out here, started a CSA.
What were you growing in this CSA? And wait, before you answer that question, what am I looking at?
Oh, this is an Aronia wheat ale. So our kind of concept is we grow dozens and dozens of different things on the farm, and then we kind of think about like what are some great classic styles or made up styles that we can really kind of create the flavor with. So this is an Aronia wheat ale. Aronia is a berry that we grow on the farm.
Okay.
And it's kind of like blends in with like a nice light.
What's an Aronia? What does it taste like?
Yeah, chokeberry is another name for it. It's got like a little bit of a tart flavor to it. Turns the beer pink, which coincidentally about half of our beers that we make are pink just because of the way the
smoky rosé
fruit is. Yeah, it's got like a super, it dries out. It doesn't impart a lot of sweetness, but adds a lot of tartness.
No, it's a beautiful taste. It's beautiful.
Well, thanks.
Okay, so you guys get into the gardening business and decide you're going to do a CSA. What does that look like for you? What are you, having never done that kind of business before, what are you doing? What are you growing? And how do you engage with the community with your product?
Yeah, and I think it was when we started it grew very slowly and organically. We were growing, everything that you can think of. My wife is not the kind of person that wants to grow 6 things. She wants to grow 300 different things.
I like your wife. She sounds like fun.
Yeah, we have one of about 80 different trees at the farm. And we have other things that we grow for more production stuff too. But yeah, so we were growing just, a lot of like classic, it was all organically grown. Sold to the neighbors, started the CSA, sold at farmers markets. So we were kind of on that path.
And are we talking like year-round lettuces, fruits, veggies, all the things?
Yeah, we would shut it down in the winter for a couple months, but yeah, it was pretty much about this time of year, late March. We to this date have several hundred plants growing in our basement, under grow lights and things, getting ready to transplant into the field.
How exciting!
And so yeah, we just my wife also has she's in love with heirloom stuff. She really likes unique things that have unique stories, unique things that aren't in the grocery store, and so. Yeah, well, Aronia is one.
Okay, Aronia, duh, of course.
Well, no, but there's a whole bunch of.
Can I buy Aronia and do something with it, or is it just for beer?
It's not just for beer, no.
Okay.
It's I don't know all the uses, and she would be able to tell you. So
Okay.
you know, I do a lot more of the brewing, and she's the one that's really like the heart and soul of the farm. We both do both things frequently.
So then
but
let's focus on. I'm just like so fascinated by her.
no,
what she's
it's
doing.
actually critical to the story and to the concepts of what we do. She, you know, a lot of heirloom stuff it looks funny. It's different colors. It's tiger striped tomatoes or you know, zucchinis that like, you know, have
Like glove
fun
zucchinis.
names. Yeah. Well, so, you know, anything that has, you know, a lot of like, the tangent is, you know, things that get kind of grown for production are grown for a lot of incentives that don't have to do with like how they look and taste and smell at the dinner table. And so, you know, there's a whole like kind of warehouse worth of seeds of things that, you know, if you can grow them, and you can't grow them efficiently, but you can grow them and there'll be great flavors and you can use them right away and you don't have to worry about storing them and shipping them. There's like a whole mine of things that you can kind of get into there. And so that's really like the stuff that fascinates my wife about the agriculture side of things.
Yes, I mean, I'm totally with your wife because as Americans, we are trained to visually expect things from our fruits and vegetables. You know, if you think about walking into a grocery store, what it looks like, this perfect, shiny thing, which means nothing about its nutritional value or its taste. So I won't go down that lecturing rabbit hole.
You know exactly
right now.
what we're talking about,
yes,
though, yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm on the same page as you. All right, so let's fast forward. And at what point were you like, okay, let's make some beer?
Yeah, you know, I don't know exactly when we decided to do it or why we felt, you know, that we had the expertise and authority to do it. But yeah, we were living out here. We thought, you know, this is a neat concept. We're passionate about the product. Let's just see what we can do. And so, you know, we weren't particularly well capitalized, but we knew how to do the farming. We knew how to do the beer in a way in small batches that we knew would work. And so, yeah, in 2012 is when we moved out here and started the farm. We had grown it to my wife had grown it to about 100 family CSA. So it was a not insignificant farming operation. We moved we created that CSA and started the brewery in 2017. So for a while we were doing both. The last couple of years we've kind of wound down the CSA.
Because this has taken off so much?
Yeah, well, the beer takes a lot out of you. You know, we're a little bit older, and we do also have a 2-year-old at home, and so we had to kind of
That takes
we had to
that takes a lot too.
Yeah, I think, you know, having to pick and choose. I will say, like, for those of you that are like buying your fruits and vegetables at farmers markets, it's an absolute. You should be like, you know, massive bear hugs every time you pick up fruits and vegetables because you probably are not paying enough.
Right.
They're afraid to ask for what you should be paying, and you know, there's a lot of, you know, 105-degree kind of days out there.
It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
I mean, it's legit. Okay, so you get into the brewing. We can come to this brewery. So can we talk about sort of what you guys are doing there, how you're incorporating all the things that your wife is growing, and what it looks like?
Yeah. So we're very small. You know, Julie had mentioned their sizes, and they're kind of 7-barrel.
Yeah,
small
I love
brewery.
sort of like I've got both ends of the spectrum here, which I love.
Yeah, we do like kind of 3 to 5 barrel batches. So very, very small. Haven't looked in a while, but probably one of the smaller ones in Virginia.
Okay.
And we do that on purpose. So you know, I brew in a big copper kettle that this guy in Southern Virginia who mostly makes like shine stills and apple butter stills made. And by keeping the batches small, 2 reasons. One, the beer is always going to be fresh, and for us that makes sense because we don't do any distribution. So I'm not able to make a big batch of beer and then send it to a bunch of great
But it
outlets.
sounds like that's not what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so can we talk about what you are trying to do?
Yeah. And what we're trying to do then is basically have like constantly seasonal products that are basically taking advantage of what we're growing. So whether it's like, you know, blackberries and raspberries, we do a lot with herbs like lemongrass, lemon balm, kind of a whole wide range of things. We have, I think, last time I checked, we're doing about 50 different beers about once a year. As we do new stuff, we like have to kind of put other things on the shelf. But yeah, so if you come to visit us, the farm, 2-acre intensive grown fruit and vegetable farm, the brew house is 50 feet away, and then we have some, you know, a lot of like outdoor space. So it's really, It's really a very kind of relaxed environment.
So when people come to the brewery, and do they come with growlers? Do you sell in cans? Like, I didn't even talk with Julie about packaging or any of that stuff. How are you doing that, given that you're not selling in other markets or at restaurants?
Yeah, we're in I think like 3 or 4 restaurants. One of them, Neal at Field and Main, you've talked to.
Yes.
They're just places that are kind of like owner operated that we do more for fun than anything. But 99% of the products at the brewery. So yeah, mostly what we sell is stuff on site. So of course, like plenty of really comfortable seating for those that want to just kind of enjoy the environment, see the garden. It's all right there.
Right.
And then we do sell some stuff in growlers and crowlers to go.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, do people come in with their growler and be like, fill me up?
Yeah, all the
kind
time.
of stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
especially locally. I mean, I think we're like lucky in that way that we have a good community that supports us. And why not buy your product locally that's being made in small batches and where it's fresh. But yeah, I mean, the primary way to have it is in these kind of open glasses. But and we don't have any design to distribute, and never, that was never part of the plan. But yeah, we like to make the small batches, like be with the people while they enjoy it, and then move on to the next one.
All right, so tell me what this next one is.
So this is it's the Bloody Butcher Lager. So it's a beer, super light, crisp beer.
But it doesn't look like a lager. When I think of a lager, I think of them like heavier in color.
Yeah, this one is like super clear,
light.
super crisp.
Yes.
So it's made with 50% corn.
Oh.
I like this beer. It's got, it's really clean, and there is a little bit of a corn flavor.
There
So
is.
Bloody Butcher is a very cool old heirloom corn. It's actually like pretty well traveled. It's had a renaissance, but it's a great.
Is it a corn that people like eat corn, or is it specific to other things?
Yeah, it's not eaten. It's more of a field corn.
Okay.
It's got the Bloody Butcher name. It's got that really cool purple red kind of color. It gets malted here in Virginia, but I like to bring this beer up because we grow as much as we can. We're super small. We don't have a combine. I don't have hundreds of acres of cropland. But there are like a lot of family farms here that are 4th, 5th generational farms, and so we grew about 50 pounds of this corn seed on our farm. Gave it to one of my friends, the Messics. They also have a lot of really cool stuff that in the county if you come out to visit. He grew about 20,000 pounds of it for me.
Wow.
Which was not something that we would be able to do. We had it malted down in Charlottesville, and then.
What does that mean for the non-beer people?
Oh, malted?
Yeah, like how do they malt it for you?
Yeah, so malting is basically you sprout the seed, mostly barley, but in this case corn, and then you dry it as soon as it sprouts. And what that does is
So the sprout, like something sticks up.
yeah,
right?
they clean that off. But what happens during the sprouting process is that all of the kind of proteins, a lot of the proteins turn into enzymes, and then that allows me to basically take the starches in the grain and turn them into sugars.
Got you.
So if I throw raw stuff in there, there's not the enzymes, so I need the enzymes. And then he can do things and cook it and toast it and get flavors that way too.
Okay.
We're really lucky to have Murphy and Rood malt down there. We do 100% of our beers with his grain, so it's all Virginia grown. And then he does the malting and we order it. So where we can't, grow things because we just simply can't,
Sure.
we, try to source it from friends as close by as we can.
I just think that's an incredible way to do business. And I know that sustainability, I mean, given what your wife is doing, sustainability really leans into how you're running that brewery. So how does that, on your smaller scale next to what Julie is doing, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, well, we also have solar panels, not nearly the system, but it does power our whole brewery. That's one of the, it scales down just as well as it scales up, which is awesome.
Right.
I think like by being small, we're able to do a lot of things manually because it doesn't make sense to buy equipment, but that keeps everything like pretty tight in terms of like inputs, which is, we do that for business reasons too. We just like being tiny, we don't have a lot of economies of scale, so we gotta like,
Well,
that's
so when
motivates us too.
When you're tiny, you have to be much more nimble and flexible in order to sort of go with things, right? Because you're not looking to go that far out. You're not like, I am making this product come hell or high water. You're like, I'm making this product if it all works here, right? So that means you have to be more flexible.
100%. And I think, one of the things that the reason we've kept it small, there's several reasons, but one really good reason is that it allows us to experiment and use things locally in a way, a lot of the stuff we do, like frankly, just does not scale up to a 100-barrel batch. I mean, we have staff that, we handpick the blackberries and then we clean them and we need them like processed in a certain way so that we can get them into and by the time we do 5 barrels of that, everybody is sick of it, right? So we would never want to be doing 100 barrels of, even like a Bloody Butcher corn, by the time we like
I just
kind
like
of,
the name, Bloody Butcher corn.
it is, and I think that's actually why it's probably so popular.
Right.
If you look in the seed catalogs, which we do all the time, there are a lot of very interesting corns, but there's something about like Bloody Butcher just like hits
I just think
home.
people like the name.
Yeah.
I agree.
So yeah, I mean, I think being small has allowed us to do things that we would never want to do at a bigger scale.
If we think back to Laura at the beginning of the show, and we really talk about the community, which is important to you and important to Julie, and important to all the people I've talked to in Fauquier, whether the whole Ox or the winemakers or Neal. What is it for you as your business? You're not looking to grow much more, but you're looking to be stable. What is it about the community to you, and what sort of impact are you hoping to have?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's 2 communities. One is we're in a little bit of a we're not too far from here, but there's almost nothing around us. And so we have really become like unintentionally become a really neat third place for the people that live around the corner and down the road that, run into town to get, something from the grocery store is a 20-minute round trip drive. And so it's nice for them to have a place to congregate. That happened on accident, frankly, but it's really like a huge part of what keeps us motivated to keep going. The second thing is, I think there are so many breweries and they serve so many different types of people that are looking for certain things. And I think for us, we've always been focused on the product and doing fun things with what we're growing on the field. And I think there's a broader community outside of Fauquier County that is interested in that. And while there are a lot of breweries to go to, I mean, I think it's important for us to like kind of justify our existence, right, and do something unique.
Right.
And so I think like motivating people to like show how you can do things at small scale. And we don't make novelty beers, like I should have gotten that out of the way at the beginning. Like the beers the products that we use, we make sure they fit in nicely with the style. So it's not kind of like a sideshow of look what I can put in a beer. But I think that by using a lot of these kind of like interesting flavors and putting them in like a complementary way to the style, I mean, for the beer community, home brewers, people that like growing small plots of land, food on small plots of land, I think find the stories interesting.
I bet they do. All right, on that note, tell everybody, please, where they can find your brewery and maybe on Instagram or whatever. I mean, all of that will be in the show notes, but tell them where we can find you.
Yeah. PowersFarmBrewery.com is our website. Powers Farm Brew is our Instagram handle. That and Facebook are a great way to keep in touch and see kind of what we have coming up or what's coming out.
Great.
And yeah, we're just a little bit south of Warrenton, so not too far.
Okay, great. Well, I appreciate you joining me today and bringing these delicious beers. And if you'll just sit here while I wrap up. I'm going to look at that camera and hope I'm looking at the right one. That is another trip out to Fauquier County. We just had so much fun and talked about so many things. And my brain is just going in so many tangents because I love when people are doing unique and interesting things. And I really am appreciative of the fact that I get to share those stories with you. So I want to thank Laura Torpy and Fauquier County for hosting us today. And of course, being here at this fantastic brewery. And Julie for hosting us here at Old Bust Head. And Kevin, thank you for joining me. And thank you for tuning in. You can watch this show on YouTube on Industry Night with me, Nycci Nellis. Of course, you want to follow me at NYCCI_NELLIS on all the platforms, but especially Instagram. And what else? Go to thelistareyouwantit.com. Everything you heard here, you'll find there. Tune in to Foodie and the Beast every Sunday at 11 a.m. And come take a trip with me because it's so much fun. Be safe out there and have a delicious week.
Produced by Heartcast Media.